Hey Kathy, hopefully you can hear me. I hope so. I know there's a slight delay, but hopefully everything is working today so I don't have to fight it. Oh shoot. Let's see. Hey Judy, here we go with the sound again, and I'm not doing anything. This has got to be... You can hear me? Yay! Okay, fantastic. Wonderful. Woohoo! Just a slight delay then. Hey Connie. We have Connie, Judy. We're a few minutes early. I just wanted to be sure if I had a sound issue that we could fix it. If you guys want to watch me, I'm not going to do this whole tutorial on making this banner. I'm just going to show you guys how I'm doing it. So I can go over to the project camera and let you guys get a sneak peek. I put the file in the description below. And I'm using party foil, the Cricut party foil, and I just cut two sets, one out of the holographic gold and one out of the plain gold. And I'm using, this is transparent thread, and it's kind of hard to work with if you're not used to sewing. I'm used to it, and it's still difficult for me. But all I did was, I started with my 2019. You can go either way. It doesn't matter. On the bottom. So I'm just stitching some of these up. I'm rotating and alternating, and I'll explain to everybody at once how I'm doing it. But I'm just threading them on. If you guys want to cut the file and do these, I don't know how many of you are decorating for the holiday, but I wanted to get this out today so that they had time to make a few of them for their parties and answer design space questions or issues with projects that anybody might be having. Hey Ivy. I know that thread is very hard for you guys to see, but that's the purpose of using it, so it's not seen. I got my 2019 stuck in there. How did I do that? Oh, yeah. So did everybody have a good Christmas? Yeah, Kathy, there's so much you can do with it, and these are just going to kind of be an addition to what is already in Design Space. They already have the spirals in there for you guys to cut this with, but I thought maybe if I could work with this invisible thread that I could do some vertical type streamer for you guys. I just want to get a good knot on that. I know, this year has flown by, Kathy. I mean, fast. It was really, really, really fast. I'll be right back, guys. I'm just going to switch over to the other screen. You guys will still see the party foil. I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that we went live. We have quite a few in here. Okay, somebody was asking me what I got for Christmas. What did you guys get? On small intricate for my iron-on designs, Ivy, I just used my iron-on. I don't need anything intricate because iron-on, it usually just stays on its carrier because it's just kiss cutting and you're not cutting all the way through to the carrier. So if you just leave it on iron-on, you should be fine. If your iron-on is not cutting well because your design is too intricate, chances are that even if you get it to cut, it's not going to stay very well because there's not enough adhesive for it to adhere with. So keep that in mind when you're doing your design and make sure that you don't get too thin of a line. I have gone extremely thin with some glitter. I mean really, really, really thin. And I got lucky. It stayed. But you have to be really careful on those thin lines with your iron-on. Just like you do with vinyl when you're putting it on a mug or something. Those very thin, teeny tiny lines, they're not going to adhere and stay well because you just don't have enough adhesive for it to stay. You had a good Christmas, Connie? Yeah, I was joking with Alicia on Messenger. She said, what did I get for Christmas? I said, carpet. Many of you know that we had a lightning strike and it destroyed my TV and my surround sound and my carpet. So I decided that I wanted carpet throughout the house, and that's what I got. You got the Cricut Bright Pad yesterday and an Easy Press too? Oh, you're going to love that, Kathy. I love my Easy Press. The party foil, this is the teal right here. I'm not using the teal. I just got a whole roll so that you guys could see what it looked like on the roll. I'm using the gold today to make a banner. And I did provide that link for you guys in there. You got a Cuttlebug, Judy? Love my Cuttlebug. I have a Cuttlebug and a Big Shot. But my Cuttlebug, my Big Shot's hard to crank with some folders and stuff. I never have a problem with my Cuttlebug. It's just so smooth and easy, and it gives such a good emboss. I put a knot in my invisible thread here, which I probably won't be able to get out. That would be my luck here. I'm hoping that it falls out. Sometimes it will. Sometimes it won't. And if it doesn't, I'm just going to work with it and work around it. Who got crickets? Did you get a Cricut Maker, an Explorer? Anybody get those for Christmas? I might get lucky here, guys. My cross-stitching days are coming back to me. And as soon as I say that, I tighten it down so badly that I probably won't be able to work with it. Okay, I'm just going to leave that loop and I'll work it out when I get there. I made this extra long anyway, as a matter of fact. How long is that? Oh, that's plenty. Just going to go ahead and cut it off and start over. Yeah, I've been giving my easy presses a workout over this holiday season myself. I mean, even during my Christmas party, I needed a last minute gift, so I grabbed a canvas and some iron-on and went to town. Took me about 4 minutes to get a gift done from cut to finish. But I had some things lined up just in case that happened. And I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I did this to work with it. Let me play the intro and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, here is the file, guys, that I set up for your party foil. It's just a really simple, easy file, and you can do these with any shapes. You can do squares, diamonds, whatever it is that you want to do. And all I did was insert the shape, and I made a 0.10 hole to cut into the party foil, top and bottom. You'll need to do 2 of them and do them on each. And you can I just did them at half-inch increments. So I think this one's 4.5 inches. This one's 4, yeah, at half-inch intervals. And then I just picked a font, did my 2019 in vertically, and then I used my line space and pushed it together and welded it. And then I just cut a hole in the top. Since this will be the end, I don't need a hole in the bottom. If you want to put yours in between some of your circles or your other shapes, just do a 0.10 hole at the bottom. Or you can punch it with your weeding tool or whatever if you decide how to do those. But this file is available. It's in the description of the video if you guys want it, or you can just make your own. So let's go over to the project camera. And guys, ask your design space questions. If you have any questions, you're stuck on anything, you don't know how to do something, ask and we'll go over it. I am going to cover the contour tool before we get out of here because several people have had questions about welding, attaching, and contouring. So I want to make sure that I cover that for anybody that might be watching on the playback. So, how do I do a vertical font? That's easy, Vicki. Let's go over and just show you real quick. Because I'm not going to complete this banner, I'm just going to show you guys how I put it together. And you can complete them. They're very, very easy to do. So when you're on Design Space here, you can click on your text. And let me just group all of this. And as a matter of fact, let's just open a new Design Space window. if it will open for me. Okay, and we're going to go to New. And when you're in, you're just going to select your text. And then for this one, we did 2019. So I'm going to type a 2. I'm going to hit Enter. A 0. I'm going to hit Enter. A 1. Enter. And a 9. Enter. But the important thing is your alignment. You want to come up here in the line center so that it centers up your text. And then I picked, I think it was the Impact font. I don't know. I could have picked something else, but you can pick any font that you want. But the way that I did this is I just decreased my line space. And I just kept decreasing it until they touched. Like that. And then I welded and made it into one piece. So that's how you can do those. They're very easy to do. And you can do that with names. You can do that with anything. You just want to make sure that they're all touching so that when it cuts, you can see that it's going to cut into one piece. You can see the white outline. I probably should do that in a different color so you could see it better on the mat. Let's do that. Maybe that one will show it. Still, but you can see that there's no cut in between any of my welds. So that's very important. If you see them connecting here, that means they're not touching, and you need to go back and undo and push it in just a little bit more. So that's how you do that. So while we're here, somebody had a question about, hi Karen, about birth announcements earlier. And they were like, well, I can't weld because if I weld, then I can't go back and I can't change it. I don't know if I have those birth announcements in here. Let's see if I do. Because you can go back and change these guys. And I may just have to create. I don't think I have them. I have them, but I don't think I uploaded them. Let's see. Let's just cancel that. But the birth announcements, they have like a date, and then they have the name of the child. They have like dots going down. And I'm just going to throw some shapes in here, guys, just to show you what I mean. This is just going to be a quick little makeshift thing. If I can grab that last one, there we go. Going to align top. There we go. And I'm just going to weld that just so they don't move. But you'll notice that a lot of these, they have all of the little dots, and not 9, that's 90. All sorts of stuff separating. And then they have maybe the weight of the child. I'm just going to put 9 ounces. We're going to skip the pounds. But just say that you have all this and you have that child's name in there and you've welded it to cut it so that it all cuts like you want it to in whatever colors, especially if you were doing this in a 2-color thing, like the 19 and the 9 would be a different color. And they're thinking that you can't go back and change it if you weld it. But if you go to your contour tool, guys, don't forget about your contour tool. You can go in and change that name and change that weight simply by clicking on your contour. See, I missed my E there. Just going to go back and click it. And now I can go in and I can take my text and I can type in the new name that I want to put in there. Oops. I don't want enter, I want to be done. There we go. And then I can come in here, and especially if you're doing 2-color, you can come in and let's say I wanted that to be 10 ounce. Now I can place that in, select that in the name, and then I can just weld those portions and do those in another color, and that way I can line them back up. Hi, Patricia. So guys, when you're welding these, the only time you're not going to be able to use your contour to change is like this date, because I made them touch, okay? So if I were to go to contour and try to contour those, I can't take and just change that 9, because when I contour, I'm going to lose it all because they're touching. But if I don't make, if I don't make them touch and I just do, well, I've got 2119 in there. That's not right. There we go. If I go in there and I do this and then I just letter space it, line space it to where it's close, because with the birth announcement you wouldn't want them to touch anyway. You would want them separated. We're just doing them adhered on the other one for the party foil. So I'm just going to get rid of that date, put in my new date, and let's just say that's where I wanted it, and I welded it to this one so that I could cut in 2 colors. But I need to change the date. Maybe it was 2018. I can contour out that 9, come in here and do an 8, come in and place it, and I'm good. Then you're just going to weld that date onto there. So guys, don't forget, even when you're changing, like on these invitations and things like that, you can duplicate before you weld and hide it and go back and pull it up. That's one way. Or you can actually just go ahead and weld it, hide it, and come back in and just use your contour tool. To me, that's quicker. I was teaching previously, make a copy, hide it. Because I wanted everybody to know there's always, and I've said this before, more than one way to do anything. But if you don't want to bog down, especially if it's a large file, you don't want to bog down your design space, go ahead and select that stuff and weld it. If you still want to come in here and do a different color, you can duplicate it. You can use your contour and whatever you want to be that second color, contour it out on one. And then come in on the second one, and you can hide all contours, and it's just going to leave one at that point, whatever's faster for you. Come in here and fix your contours on that, and then I'll hide that one. And then I can change this part to a different color. Bam, I'm done. So that's a very, very important tool, and I know that it's down there on the bottom right, and as new members come in, they're not going to know about that contour tool, and they're going to be scared to weld. You don't have to be scared, especially if it's an uploaded image. You can just upload it again and work on it. But if you want to save yourself some time and you're scared to do it, duplicate it and hide one of your duplicates so that you always have something to come back and play with. What is frozen? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's Pam Tisdale. I'm trying to think of your name, sweetheart. If you have questions, guys, type them in caps so that I can see them. And if you don't get an answer, I'm pretty sure it's Pam. If you don't get an answer, please message me and I'll get you an answer. Guys, don't ever be afraid to message me. I may not be available right away. If you need an answer fast, you're going to get it in the group faster because we have such great moderators, Sue and Jamie and Kathy, all of them, they're great, and our other Sue. So, Oh, you're very welcome, Rona. Rana. It's Rana, not Rona. You're very, very welcome. But guys, never be afraid to come on Messenger and ask me if you, like I said, it may be slower for me to answer you there because sometimes I don't get all of my notifications. So always, if I haven't responded in 15 minutes, go to the group and make sure that somebody gets you an answer. So that is one of the things. That's how you can do vertical. It's also how you can weld instead of attach, and you can use your contour tool to get around it. You can hide an image and bring it back later if you want to make changes that way. Again, there's more than one way to do anything. So let's go back over to the project camera. If you have anybody has a question, don't hesitate to ask. We'll come back over to the Design Space screen and we will get those answered for you. We don't want to leave anybody behind. And some of us may know how to do them, some of us may not. So sometimes you hear questions repeated and answers repeated. We don't mind. We will repeat until everybody understands. So all I've done is thread my clear thread. This is a transparent thread. You can use fish line, anything you have. You can use string. It doesn't matter if it shows, really. You're only going to use it for one day, right? So I started with my 2019 and I just looped my thread and tied it off. You can start from either end. It doesn't matter. Can you save a design you create as an SVG, or do you have to? It is a Cricut file. If you do it in Design Space, it is a Design Space file, and it cannot be transferred. That being said, and I do not encourage this because of legalities, you can turn off your grid, and you can screenshot it and go and make your SVGs. If you make SVGs, you can do that. But there are legalities, and those images are not supposed to be shared that way. So I'm going to say don't do it. Some people will post it in the room, and I quickly delete those comments because you can get into some legal trouble doing that. If it's for your own personal use, that's fine. But if you're caught distributing material that's not supposed to be distributed, you could be in a ton of trouble. And now you guys get to watch me thread the needle because I forgot to show you my tip and take it off. I have a needle threader somewhere, but there, I got it. Okay, what I do with this, especially with this invisible thread, guys, and this is not a sewing project, so you can do this. I've just pulled it through, and then I'm going to loop it and tie a knot, just so my invisible thread doesn't come undone, and I have to fight it the entire time that I'm working with it. Did I miss my loop? Just make sure you get a knot in it for this kind of project. Trying to do this without sticking myself. There we go. So now I have a knot. If I drop my needle, it's not going to slide off of this invisible thread. It's very hard to see, but that's the purpose of using it, as I said before. And I'm just threading on these pieces at different intervals. They don't have to be exact. If you want yours exact, you can get them exact. And I'm just looping my thread through them and then knotting it off. And then I'm taking the next piece. And I'm swapping back between the holographic and the plain. In the party foils, you're going to get both. You're going to get the holographic pieces and the regular foil pieces so that you can mix and match. Tons of colors. Guys, you can do so much with the party foil. Again, they have the spirals already in there in Design Space. If you go to projects and search, and I'm just going to show you, you can bring them close down to each other and loop them together if you want them to be exact, or you can do them at different intervals. And I'm wrapped around my party foil. So it's just up to you as to where you want yours to land, how much space you give them. And this is really a pretty quick project. It's not hard to do at all. But I'm just looping that and getting a knot. And then I'm not even threading it. I'm just going to the back and going up to the top. And then I'm just going to loop that thread off so it can't slide in its position, just to secure it where it's at. So once you're done, then you're going to have this streamer, and it's going to go all the way up to 4.5 inches. So it's going to be, I believe, just over 2 feet long once you finish it. So you guys can make your streamers from that. That file is in the video description. Hey, Liz. You're trying to create your own image, Patricia. I keep saying Patricia. I think it's Pam. Let's go over to Design Space. What type of image are you trying to create? Is it an image? Is it a card file? Is it an envelope? A card? If you can give me an idea, I can come through here and we can go over it and I can show you. Is PAX? Okay. If you're wanting to create your own image, you can do that from Shapes. PAX, I got you, P-A-X. You can create just about anything from Shapes. Let's see if I can remember how I did mine. Like a cup, okay? Let's try the cup. It's been a while since I've done this one, but we're going to work on it. When you have your shapes, I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to need, I think, 3 of those. And I'm going to show you what you can do with a letter as well. So if you wanted to say make one of those, I don't know if you guys have seen them. You made sunglasses. That's cool. Even though you're creating with just basic shapes in Design Space, they are Design Space images. So I use Shortcuts a lot 5 when I want to use something that isn't Design Space owned. It isn't Cricut Access owned. That's what I do. But you can unlock and bring these down, guys. And if you look at how I just did that, I'm going to duplicate it and bring another one down. See how we're starting to form a cylinder? So now we have the basic shape of a cup, okay? But before I do anything, I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to bring that over. Going to align, and I'm going to center those vertically. And I'm going to weld. And then I'm going to take this one on the bottom, and I'm going to select the square, and I'm going to weld those. I haven't moved anything. You see that it's still sitting there from where I did it. I'm going to select the 2, and then I'm going to slice. Now I have the front of my cup. So that when I put these 2 together, line the bottom, and I weld it. Now I can insert a score line. Oops, I keep missing that. I can insert a score line right here for my fold. So if any of you guys have seen the little cards that look like coffee mugs, that's what this is. Okay? And it's very easy to create, but you're not going to be able to export it. You can share your file number up here. Now keep in mind there is an issue with Design Space. You want to save it for a different machine. Yeah, let me show you that in just a second. I will show you this same scenario in Sure Cuts a Lot. So I'm just going to flip that horizontally, I'm sorry, and stretch it. And I may want that hole just a little bit bigger for that mug, but I'm going to live with it. And I'm going to weld that, arrange, send it to the back. And see how that turned black, guys? Whatever your bottom layer color is, here's your layers panel. Whatever color is on the bottom, that's the color your weld is going to change to. And I'm just going to place that score line in there and attach. So now I have my card for my coffee where I can put my hot cocoa in there very easily. I'm just going to fold this piece over. You can flip this horizontally. So if you want to write on the front of your card, this is where you're going to write, right here, because this is the front. And this is not lined up perfectly. You can see I've got a little curve right there. This is just an example. In the real world, you're going to make sure that you've got everything lined up like it's supposed to be. But yes, if you can look at shapes and things like that, and from your basic shapes, you can generally figure out how to make a shape and how to do it. But for your question, Pax, what you're wanting to do, Sure Cuts a Lot's probably going to be better for you. I'm just going to pop this up here on the screen for you and show you basically what it is that you would need to do. And we have a new project here. So I'm just going to close that. I don't need that. Let's bring this over. Here is Sure Cuts a Lot. In the real world, let's say that you wanted to do sunglasses. I am going to look for a sunglasses silhouette and images. So let's say these are the ones we want. And it's a PNG. That's not a big deal. I'm going to right click and I am going to save the image as, and I'm on Google. Let's just put it on my desktop and save it. And it's down here in the bottom as well. I'm going to minimize that. And then I'm going to come over here in Design Space. And you want to make sure that you're using royalty-free images if you're going to be sharing and or selling your images, your SVGs. You can click on Trace, choose that image. I'm going to select that one right there, and I always put the nodes up. This is I only need 2 color. 2 colors the minimum you can do. You can update the preview and check it. Looks good to me. I'm going to say OK, and now I have it. There is an SVG. Okay. So you can then just file and export it. Of course, if you want to do any cutouts, you can do that as well in here before you export it. And then you're just going to name it. And I'm going to save that to my desktop and save. And it's going to have it already marked Design Space compatible. And then I'm just going to come back to my Design Space. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to go to Upload, Upload, Browse. I'm going to grab my Sunglass SVG. I'm going to open it. And I'm going to name and tag it. You're not going to be asked to clean up an SVG, guys. Only a PNG and a JPEG. And then it's going to be your last one uploaded and you're going to insert it. And now you have your sunglasses that you can use in Design Space. You can also, because you have the SVG, you can use it in other programs. So then you have it on the outside and the inside of Design Space. And you're not breaking any rules by using that because it's a royalty-free image. And you've created your own SVG, done your own cutouts on it, and you can share it that way. via SVG, and that way it can be loaded up into Brother Scan and Cut, into Silhouette, into Design Space, and other programs. Escal is, to me, this is not the Pro version. You can get the Pro version. I haven't needed the Pro version. And there are several things that you can create. You can trace, you can draw, you can do stencils. There are extensive effects tools that you can use. With a click of a button, I can do a drop shadow for that. Just tons of stuff that you can do with the Cricut a lot. I am Patricia. I am going to try to add once a week doing just something in Escal because I'm learning it too. Well, when you go in and you do your searches, for one, you can look. Let's go back over here to. You can see right here, this image may be subject to copyright, okay? And it looks like this is on Flaticon's page. And they will tell you, usually, you can just research and look, but you can also do your search. Royalty-free clip art. Then go to your images and look for something that's royalty-free, okay? You're always going to see that. They're always going to have it. Generally, things like this you're going to be able to find royalty-free, okay? It's when you get into things that are like Disney and things like that. You guys know, those things are licensed. They're copyrighted. Can you create it and use it for your own personal use? Yes. You're not going to get in trouble for that. It's when you start selling items with that on there or selling that SVG that you're going to get into trouble. You don't want to do that. You want to make it for yourself, or you make one and you say, here's the SVG for a friend. As long as they know it's not royalty free, and if they're caught selling it, then you're going to be in trouble. Now with Design Space, excuse me, your images that you use, except licensed, guys, except licensed. There's an angel policy on there. Can you cut 500 of that image and just sell the image as a die cut? No. Can you cut 500 of them and stick them onto a project, say a t-shirt as an iron-on, and sell it? Yes. There are lots of legalities, but let's just go over and take a look at them. I'm just going to leave that. And let's go down to help. And let's type in angel policy if they haven't moved it on us. Let's type in legal. There we go. They have moved my angel policy. There we are. For more information, visit the legal page. Well, that's I hate that they moved that. Let's see if I can find it. I'm not thrilled with the new place that they've moved these on. I don't want that. That's not what I want. Does anybody know where they moved it to? Can I sell images? Maybe. Let's see. I'm going to have to send feedback. I'm not liking this. We used to have the Angel policy where it was viewable, and now they're not. They've moved stuff. I don't like how they moved it. Maybe it's in Design Space. Anyway, it's not in there. But they do have an Angel policy. I can't find it. I will find it for you guys, and I will, if you need it, I will post it in the groups. But basically what it says is you are not allowed to sell licensed images. You cannot take like their Make It Now project and cut 500 of them and sell them. You have to cut that Make It Now project, assemble it, then you can sell it up to, I believe it's 10,000 copies without having to have a commercial license or get legalities from them. So just keep in mind, you can't go in there and cut an image and sell that image, especially like Mickey Mouse, any of your Make It Now projects and things like that. You can't go in there and say, cut 500 of these iron-ons and sell them. You cannot do that. You can, however, cut 500 of these, iron them on a shirt, and then sell the shirt. That you can do because you have to sell a finished product. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that help clarify that? Yeah, and I will find out where they moved our legal policy to because it's not pulling up at all. They may have changed it, so yeah, they're still moving things and working on the new site, so, and that's why all my links keep changing and things like that, because every time they move it, they break a link. So, but maybe that will help clarify. Now, things like these, you cannot put those on projects and sell those projects because they're licensed images and they're for your own personal use. Okay? So even if I were to iron this on 500 shirts, I cannot legally sell those 500 shirts because I don't own the licensing to Disney and Mickey Mouse. So they are licensed images. But Cricut has a license with them to sell these images for us to use for our personal use, and that's why we have them. Because I can tell you right now that license is extremely expensive. Does anybody else have any Design Space questions or project questions? Anything at all? We still have about, I don't know, 11 minutes. So anything that you guys are needing to ask questions about, now's the time so that we can show you live. And I will, let me go ahead and announce it. For the last week, I've been working on projects. Right now, I have 14 or 15 projects. I am going to be working on maybe 5 to 10. Don't hold me to that because I may only have time to do 3. But I'm going to be throwing some Super Bowl projects in there too. But I am going to do a 14 Days of Valentine's. So we're going to have iron-on. We're going to be using our Cuddlebugs, our easy presses for iron-on. We're going to be making cards. We're going to be making boxes. I'm just trying to do 14 days of projects that everybody can do. You may not have the materials or whatever to do one project one day, but you will have it to do the project the next day. And I plan to do some of them on live. Others will be recorded tutorials that I will just post that day. I started a video on doing the cups with the mica powders and the epoxy, and I decided to scrap that idea, and I'm going to try to do that live sometime this week so that you guys can ask questions as they arise as we're making it, and you don't have to wait on answers later on. So we're going to be doing some Cuttlebug projects. We are going to be showing some embossing of the foils. You can emboss. Let me just pop over here back onto the project camera. This stuff, guys, is awesome when you emboss it, especially for like these plain panels that are not holographic. Use your embossing folder, emboss them, put a design on them. As Kathy said, they emboss beautifully. However, party foil is very, very, very slick. And myself, I haven't found anything that lets it stick really well. I've tried glue dots and they'll hold for a little bit, but they can pop loose, just so you know. If you're making a card, don't opt for party foil for your cards because it can pop loose. It makes wonderful confetti. If you have the confetti dies for your Cuttlebug, you can run this through and run your scraps through. Any kind of scrap that you have, like I have on this mat. Some of these pieces of scrap right here are big enough for me to run with my confetti die and make some confetti to do. That way I don't have any waste on it with your Cuttlebug. So you can do that, and if you don't have the confetti dies, you can cut it on your Cricut and fill in all those little spaces and cut your own confetti. You can use scissors and just chop it up if you want to, all those little scraps. So it makes great confetti, and for shaker cards too. But if you want that perfect shine and you want it on a card and you want to use it as a panel, I'm going to suggest putting the Cricut adhesive foil on your cardstock and then cutting it on your Maker or your Explore Airs and using that and then embossing it. So, and I'm going to show some of that this week too. That is in some of the Valentine's projects. Yes, Patricia, I'm still going to be every Monday, and I'm going to try to add on either Wednesday or Thursday to go over some Escal stuff so we can learn that together. Zippos. Do you, this may be a crazy question, do you mean Zippos like lighters? I'm not sure, because everybody has different names for different stuff. This is what came to mind when you said that to me, was the Zippo lighters. And what are you trying to put on them, Rana? But yeah, so as far as Mondays go, they are going to stay the same, and I am going to do those at 7 o'clock, and they'll always be available for playback because it's just not possible for me to determine a good time for everybody. That's just never going to happen. I can choose 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7:30. And it's going to be a good time for one person where it's not going to be a good time for another. I can choose Mondays or Thursdays or Wednesdays or Saturdays. It's going to be a good time for some. It's not going to be a good time for others. Saturdays, I try not to tie up anybody's Saturdays so that they can go and do their shopping and their craft shopping and do their hauls and stuff like that. I just do the 3 o'clock for my Patreons on Saturday so they have time to go back and view it if they don't get to watch it, so that they can get their errands and stuff done, because a lot of people do have jobs and they don't, Saturdays are not always good for everybody. So I always make sure that they're available for playback for you guys, and I try to keep Saturdays free. But I may do other days of the week. I am going to try this year to add at least 2 more days a week. One day for ESCAL, one day for projects, and one day for whatever. Maybe an anything goes day. Names and maybe an image. Rana, I would use probably the permanent adhesive Cricut, or either your Oracle 651, which you can get from Brilliant Vinyl. I have links in the description. Those are going to probably last longer. Again, if you do really thin lines, because that's something that's in and out of somebody's pocket, they're handling it constantly all day long. Is the vinyl going to hold up a good long time? I don't know. If it's really smooth, shiny, silver type, you might want to try the enamel glass paints. They sell those over in the acrylic section. Or either put a stencil on it and spray paint it. Maybe, I don't know if they sell a metal etching. I don't think the Armor Etch will etch metal. You could do that. Probably use your vinyl for a stencil and paint it, and then seal it. It will eventually wear off, but not as fast as vinyl. And you could always redo it if you needed to. But there are several scenarios that you could do. If it were me, I would probably do the stencil and paint it, and then seal it with a clear gloss sealer. That would be what I would do, because I know that they come apart, but to set that enamel paint that they sell for glassware, it has to be baked, and I don't know about baking a lighter that has lighter fluid in it. It might not be a good idea. So I think that I would put my stencil on there, spray paint it, because you can cover the whole thing without getting paint on other parts of it. Seal it with a gloss sealer, and then peel that vinyl off, and bam, you have an image. And the enamel spray paints will hold up longer as well, better than the acrylics. They make an acrylic enamel spray paint. That's probably what you want to use. Okay, is everybody, let me switch back over. Everybody's clear on Design Space, and you learned something about contouring, weld, and stuff like that, and using shapes to make your own images. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right, guys, I will see you. Y'all have a happy New Year. I am not going to be live Monday because that is New Year's Day, and everybody will be either cleaning up their holiday stuff, packing things away, or they will be hungover, or they will be visiting with family. So I will not be live again this week, but I plan to go live on Tuesday and start the 14 days of Valentine's. So, and we're going to throw some, not just Valentine's, but I'm going to throw some Super Bowl stuff in there too. Because those both are kind of run together. The Super Bowl is always the end of January, first part of February, and we need time to do our Valentine's, and sometimes for the first 14 days of February, depending on what you got going on, isn't enough time to plan and decide what you want. I appreciate all of you guys joining me. Again, have a happy New Year. You guys stay safe for any of you that are going out. Watch the other people. And I will see you on Tuesday. No, I'm sorry. Wednesday. Why do I keep thinking New Year's Eve is Monday, New Year's Day is Tuesday? I will see you guys on Wednesday. So that's a correction. Sorry about that. I just got Tuesday stuck in my head. So Wednesday is the day we're going to start the 14 days of Valentine's. Okay? And our Super Bowl projects. That should give everybody enough time to do your Super Bowl and your Valentine's. And then in February, we will start our St. Patty's Day stuff. And guys, don't forget, here's a tip. Look at your calendars. When you're making all of your cards and you've got all your supplies and stuff out, like I try to and I didn't get to this year, is like, this is December. I would be making my January birthday cards, my family birthday cards, to get those out. In January, I want to make sure I've got my February birthdays and if I have time, I'm even going to do March birthdays. Get those cards and put those in a file. That way, when those birthdays roll around, you're ahead of the game, and you can start popping out those cards. That way, you're not, when Easter comes, you're not scrambling to do your Easter cards because you did them a month or two before. So look at your calendars when you're working on projects and knock out some of your birthday cards while you have your supplies out. That way you can save yourself some time. So Happy New Year, everybody, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. You have a wonderful day.